Dear students, good morning. I welcome you to the first course of second year written expression entitled Introduction to Paragraph Writing.
During the lectures, students will be able to evoke previous knowledge they already acquired in written expression in their first year. And by the end of the course, they will be able to discern the role of each sentence composing the paragraph, to know how to construct a paragraph, to develop incomplete paragraphs with missing sentences, to write their own paragraphs, to entitle paragraphs, and to respect form in writing them, to write concisely and with adequate content, to respect coherence and cohesion that we're going to understand later, and to add convenience details when necessary, and many more functions and objectives. In the content of a paragraph, we can tackle different subjects and we can also develop different ideas. So we can describe, we can provide opinion, we can narrate a story, we can process a technique, we can explain something throughout cause and effect, we can contrast and also compare two or more things and elements, and so forth. A paragraph is a fundamental unit of a coherent text. It is composed of different sentences. Coherence will be highlighted as a form component in writing paragraphs and essays. Different kinds of sentences compose paragraphs. One of them is introductory, also called a topic sentence. The other one is concluding, and other sentences are supporting sentences. Each one of these has got a specific function. A standard definition of a sentence is an arrangement of orderly words. These words are generally nouns, verbs, auxiliaries, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, linking words, and the relationship or this logical relationship between one another is going to give a meaningful sentence with a specific function. Each sentence in a paragraph has got a definite role. The basic sentence achieves a rather specific function. It introduces the topic we write about, and it is named the topic sentence. This sentence is the first sentence in a paragraph. It is also named introductory sentence in relation to the function it carries. This sentence is to be indented, and the paragraph body must have a margin on the right and a margin on the left. Some examples of topic sentences are the following. The recent pandemic has caused different changes in individuals' lives. Second one, when I was young, I used to travel a lot. 3. Pancakes are delicious and easy to prepare. In the first sentence, the reader would expect the writer to tell them about these changes, what they are, and what kind they are. In the second one, the reader would feel curious to know where the reader used to travel and maybe why to travel. 3. Pancakes are delicious and easy to prepare. I suppose that many of us need to know the way to obtain these delicious pancakes. So please, the recipe.
The topic sentence contains in its formulation the topic and the leading idea, called the controlling idea. This one needs to be developed, as its role is to provoke the reader's eagerness to know more about its relevant contents and obtain further information. In other words, the controlling idea stimulates the need for consistency in clarifying a point about the topic. This one refers to the subject that gives sense to this idea. It can be a person, an object, a phenomenon, or a situation. So the controlling idea titles the topic throughout. For instance, description, narration, facts, assumptions, etc. and need to be developed throughout, for instance, chronology, throughout steps, and other developing ways.
Consider the following topic sentences whose topics are the same. My mother. Their controlling ideas are different and clarify what the writer will say about the topic. In the first sentence, or as a first topic sentence, we'll have my mother is my teacher. The topic is my mother. The controlling idea is my teacher. In the second one, my mother, the topic, is my reference cook, which is the controlling idea. My mother is beauty. My mother is the topic, and the controlling idea is beauty.
Other examples are: the best choice to make is ours. The best choice to make is the topic. Is ours is the controlling idea. 2. Another example. A perfect teacher is basically an honest one. A perfect teacher is the topic, and is basically an honest one is the controlling idea. 3. A teacher is necessarily a loving one. A teacher is the topic, and is necessarily a loving one is the controlling idea.
The controlling idea is that part of the topic sentence which says something about the topic to make the reader feel the need for supporting ideas, the reason for which it should not be too general nor too specific, as in the following examples. Happiness is a feeling of joy, which is too general. There are 9 planets, which is also too general. Audiolingual method is one kind of full language teaching, which is too specific. So instead of these, we'd have to say happiness is an emotional and psychological state, for example. Or among the teaching methods of EFL, the audiolingual method.
The supporting sentences constitute the body of the paragraph. They are distributed coherently, as will be explained later. They also go in cohesion with the topic sentence, as will be also explained later. These sentences can always be detailed when necessary, and between each supporting sentence and its detail or details in case there is more than one, we generally put a period and less frequently a comma, but in our course we advise periods.
Consider one of our students' paragraphs. She writes, "Practicing sport is an outstanding habit that should be set in our daily life for so many reasons." The student was asked about the major part of this sentence which needs to be developed, and she said, what needs to be developed is the controlling idea. So this controlling idea, according to her, is an outstanding habit that should be set in our daily life for so many reasons. And she says that we have to mention all these reasons. And she continues to say that we are talking about a subject which is practicing sports, which is the topic. So she writes first, and she calls it the first supporting sentence. First, practicing sport is scientifically regarded as an effective solution against so many psychological disorders. For instance, 75% of American students with anxiety problems have been advised by their psychologist to practice sports. So this is the first supporting sentence. Another argument or reason for which we need to practice sport is, according to the students, that people who have been enrolled, so this is second, people who have been enrolled in different sports tend to become more self-confident, and this is to particularly refer to persons suffering obesity. They have subsequently succeeded in many job application opportunities. Each of the two supporting sentences in the student's example contains a detail or more. Let's consider her S1, the first supporting sentence, when she says, first, practicing sport is scientifically regarded as an effective solution against so many psychological disorders. She adds one detail in order to scientifically support her idea in S1. And she says, for instance, 75% of American students with anxiety problems have been advised by their psychologist to practice sport. In her S2, she adds two details. So I read her S2, second, people who have been enrolled in different sports tend to become more self-confident. Her D1, detail 1, is, this is to particularly refer to persons suffering obesity. So here she wanted to, in fact, stress a group of people, and these are the ones suffering obesity. In her D2, she says, they have subsequently succeeded in many job application opportunities. And here, in this D2, she tries also to support her S2, but differently. And here, she talks about the success of these people who are obese in job application, thanks to their being becoming self-confident, and always thanks to practicing sports. So back to cohesion. All sentences in a paragraph go cohesively with the topic sentence, to mean that they treat the same idea and the same topic. If you consider the topic sentence of the student's paragraph, practicing sport should be set as a habit in our daily life, and you also notice S1 and S2, you can understand cohesion or notice cohesion according to the colors, red and yellow. Back to coherence. In coherence, the relationship between one supporting sentence and another should be logical in terms of many things. For instance, we can place supporting sentences by order of importance, by order of time, by function or step order, and also by using transition words. In this example, the two sentences follow a certain logic, as S2 completes the idea in S1, for instance. And also, there is transition, using transition words like first, second, between one sentence and another. Consider another example. The area where I live is ideal. It's a suburb not far from the center and it's quite lively. But there's still a feeling of space, and my block of flats is surrounded by trees. It's also a handy place to live because there are good local shops and a bus service that get me into the center in 15 to 20 minutes. The only disadvantage is that with the growth in the population, it's gradually becoming more built up than it used to be, which is a shame. The topic sentence, the area where I live is ideal. So how so? In S1, it is a suburb not far from the center, and it's quite lively, but there's still a feeling of space, and my block of flats is surrounded by trees. This sentence shows how ideal is the area I live in. In S2, it's also a handy place to live because there are good local shops and a bus service that get me into the center in 15 to 20 minutes. So, sentence 2 also shows how advantageous is life in my area. And notice coherence between S2 and S1 by the use of the transition expression it is also. So I add something to S1. In S3, the only disadvantage is that with the growth in the population, it's gradually becoming more built up than it used to be, which is a shame. I notice here that the content of S3 is different from S1 and S2's contents. Why? Because it brings something negative, or it raises something negative about my area. So in this sense, I put it at the end in order also to show coherence by order of importance and by order of contents.
Back to details. In this paragraph, if I want to detail the supporting sentence number 3, the only disadvantage is that with the growth in the population, it's gradually becoming more built up than it used to be, which is a shame. So we feel that there is need for further information, especially throughout the word disadvantage, going with a more built up area. And the question is why it is disadvantageous to have a more built up area and why it is a shame. So we can suggest as detail 1, nature is gradually losing space with less plantation and much more in empty bins. And detail 2, another supposition or proposition. The building's architecture is not thoughtful and adds no more than sadness to life there.
The last sentence in any paragraph is called the concluding sentence. It has got different functions, mainly first to end the paragraph, to end supporting sentences, to conclude and restate the idea in the topic sentence, to provide a solution, to give a piece of advice, to express prediction or expectations, to give a point of view, to show a result, and other functions. This paragraph is about Ellen, who lost her job in London in 1992. The body of the paragraph throughout the supporting sentences follows a certain process about Ellen, who was looking for a job. And at the end, Ellen was finally offered a new job. This is the concluding sentence. This paragraph is about school uniforms, which should be mandatory for all students in the United States. The body of the paragraph develops the reasons supporting this idea, and the last sentence, which is the concluding sentence, expresses the author's opinion.
Titling paragraphs. Paragraphs can be titled according to their content and kinds, and the title has several functions. For instance, it can predict contents. 2. It catches the reader's interests to read the contents. 3. It reflects the tone or slant of the piece of writing. 4. It contains keywords that will make it easy to access by a computer research. A title then gives a glance about the paragraph's content. For instance, we can understand the intention of description, of narration, or else throughout the title of the paragraph. More than this, the subject and the description or narration can be highlighted in the title either in a direct way or throughout keywords. And a good title is then a short heading composed of at least 2 words and at last 5 to 6 words. And the title can also be a question. Different titles can be Why Go to Mars, representing an explanatory content. Rules at School, representing an instructional or informative content. Setting Up a Business, representing a process paragraph content. A Peaceful Site, representing a descriptive content. In the following 10 practices with their solutions are relevant to the course content and they aim at clarifying each point about paragraph writing.